Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I am just going to talk about not the content so much of what you've been reading, but I'm going to talk to you about the test that is, in fact, upcoming. And I'm also going to talk about how to study for that. And I think that it is scheduled for next week. And I think I might bump that back a little bit because somebody gave me the really good idea of helping you all decrease your anxiety a little bit by giving you a short quiz that's worth, a few points, but wouldn't do much damage to anything if you, for some reason, couldn't figure out the answers. But it will give you an idea of how the test runs and what types of questions I ask and sort of see if you're doing what you need to be doing so that you can find the answers when you take the test. I say find the answers because, as we all know, this test is in fact open book, open note, open lecture, whatever. So I'm going to encourage you to use the same resources that you would use for your exam on the quiz, which I'm going to post, I believe, this afternoon, or well, I should say evening. It is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I think it'll probably be this evening. I'm looking down at my syllabus right now, and I just don't want to give you a quiz and say this has to be done in 24 hours or something like that. I've always promised that I would never do that. So instead, in looking at the schedule, I think what we'll do is we will push the test back just a little bit and take some time for the quiz. I do believe that it's a worthy investment of our time. So we are now in the week of 9/22, which is actually week 5. And yes, your exam would be throughout next week. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to post that quiz tonight, sometime before midnight. And you will have until next Wednesday, yes, till next Wednesday at noon to take that quiz. And then I will post the exam on Thursday. And if you want to take the exam immediately and get it done by the next day as originally scheduled, you're more than welcome to, but you don't have to. You will have a full week to take that exam. Now, as some of you know already that I've talked to, and others that, listened to the first lecture I gave, I believe, I will actually leave that up for a week and you can take as much time on it as you want. There's no time limit, but you only have one chance to take it. So what you need to do is to open up that I want you to open up that one, exam and take the test over whatever period of time that you want to. But if you submit it, if you log out of your computer or out of your Blackboard, it's probably not going to let you back in, and it will just, the test will be incomplete. So if you have a problem that, a technical difficulty or something where you left the test open and you thought it was going to be fine, and there was, I don't know, say a power outage or something like that, and it won't let you back in, just let me know. Send me a text, 417-827-4644. It's also on your syllabus, and I'll go ahead and reopen it for you. So there are solutions. It's just that the software is such that giving multiple attempts initially makes things very complicated on my end. And hopefully you don't need multiple attempts because, like I said, it's open book. Take as much time as you need, and I leave it open for a week. All right. So you can schedule when you take it. How long will this test take you? I've never known them to take longer than an hour. Sometimes far, far less than that. There's usually somewhere between 13 and 18 questions that are worth variable amounts of points, adding up to the 100 points that the test is worth. And that leads me to another thing, which is you have 1,000 points that you could possibly earn in this class. You only need 900 to get an A. This test is worth 100 points. that means any points that you get still keep you in that potential to get an A range. Okay. So de-stress a little bit before you decide to go in and take it. That's the first tip I'll give you. The second tip I'll give you is don't think too hard. I'm literally just making sure that you're reading and watching the videos and that you know where to find the answers to things. And that leads to sort of a sub point, which is, yes, I have had people fail this exam. How do you fail? I'm not entirely sure, but I think that there's a couple of ways. Number one, people do leave questions unanswered for some reason that I just cannot figure out. And that's obviously 0 points automatically. Some people Google the question and think that whatever the first answer is the right answer, and it's not. I mean, because of things, for example, what is Aristotle's definition of rhetoric is a question I commonly ask. If you Google definition of rhetoric, or even Aristotle's definition of rhetoric, you may not get Aristotle's definition of rhetoric. I mean, someday, hopefully, you understand how the analytics of Google work, and they won't necessarily give you the answer from the course, from the book, from me. And does that make the answer wrong? Absolutely, it makes it wrong. If I ask for Aristotle's definition of rhetoric and you give me anything other than, those three pieces of the art or skill of knowing in any particular instance, all the means of persuasion. I mean, I don't care about the wording, but if you give me anything else that, other than those three components, in some way, then yeah, it's wrong, because Aristotle's definition of rhetoric has those three components in it, as we've talked about. So before I bury Aristotle's definition of rhetoric any further, let me just say this: do not Google to get the answers. Okay, just not smart. It's not a good way, and you're not learning. Now, are there good reasons to use Google? Absolutely. Are they for exams? No. When we're trying to find information that we can't find somewhere else, or we're trying to do a generalized search of all the world's literature, of course. But Googling the answers online is not going to work. And one of the big reasons is because none of my exams are made available to the web. So you won't ever, I know there's Quizlet out there. I don't use that. I know that there's people who put the questions and answers for a test that are given in the book for the teacher's edition. They put those on the web. I don't even use them. So every exam that I give is different every year, and every exam focuses on what I believe that we have focused on as a class. And none of them come from a book or a test bank or anything like that. So what is going to be the format is going to be short answer. And by short answer, I may mean a list and define one sentence or even phrases. I'm not talking about complete sentences and paragraphs worth. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is literally short answer. And sometimes that could be, just a couple of words. The multiple choice, I think, is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go too far deep into that. Those are really the only two kinds of questions that I ask in the first exam. Later on, I may get into using matching, identify this author or this theorist with their theory or something, but that is not something I've done yet, so I don't know that I will, but I've been tempted once or twice. But we're just going to go with the short answer and the multiple choice right now. Okay. Let's see, what else do you need to know about the exam or the quiz? I think that has you covered. Now, some of you have asked me, how do I read for these exams? I'm not getting it. I don't understand. They're writing in dialogue. That is not something I'm used to. And all of these things are totally understandable. I was telling a student the other day, I was sitting at the Mud House downtown. I don't know. I assume it's still open. This was back in 2006 when I first moved here. And I went there until I got married, till about 2014. And I would just sit there and read all the time, whether I was working on my dissertation at the time or I was working on a class. And they had given me this class, and I was like, I've never taught rhetoric before. Obviously, I understood it. I have a PhD in it, so I obviously was able to prepare. So I took the book, which is a lighter version of what you have right now, but it was still pretty thick and heavy. And I sat down with it, and I was reading Aristotle, and it was probably the sixth or eighth time that I've read the Rhetoric, if not more. It was definitely somewhere between the sixth and eighth time that I had read Phaedrus. And as I was sitting there in the coffee shop, I remember going, "Oh my God, is that what that means?" It took that long for me to really dig as deep as I needed to, because when you're reading as a student, you think, okay, I just need to get certain things out of this, not I've got to teach this to somebody else. And so when you're reading it, because you have to teach it to somebody else, all of a sudden things become, I don't know how to say it, but clearer. So the first thing you might do is read as if you have to teach the class about the main ideas in that work that you're reading. That would be one of my first suggestions. A second suggestion would be that you watch my lectures before or after you read, and see if you're getting the main ideas that I got out of it. That will help you out. Third, don't read for every insignificant detail. If you're getting confused, keep reading. See what you can pull from it. There's not going to be a major thing in every single paragraph that you're reading or every single line of the dialogue that you're reading. Okay, it's about the whole, and finding out what the main ideas and what the thrusts of the arguments are as a whole. So Aristotle obviously organizes a lot better than a dialogue. Cicero and Plato make dialogue so trudgingly hard, but Cicero is actually much more organized than Plato is. And so as we move along, you'll see subtitles or subheadings, and you'll see bullet points or numerical points or lettered points that identify what are the important things for you to be paying attention to. So anything that's bold or italicized, obviously, that means there's something there that you need to get. So hopefully that all helps you out. And I do understand 100% that you may read it 6 to 8 times and still not get it. So don't bog yourself down in that. Read it. I wouldn't read it more than once. And then trust me to help you find what's important, because I'm not going to dig something out just for the sake of tricking you or whatever. Okay, that's not going to happen. Which means that you should be able to not just pass these exams, you'll probably do well on these exams, because if you are reading and you watch the lectures, you'll get it. I promise. I promise that. Okay. And if you don't, if you're still failing, then we can talk. But if you're failing because you didn't read or you didn't answer the questions or you Googled your answer, I can't help you with that. Okay. So I think that's probably pretty obvious, but I don't think this is going to be nearly as difficult as I know at least a few of you are a little freaked out about it. So let me do this for you. I'm going to give you a quiz tonight by midnight, and at the absolute latest, it'll probably be earlier than that. But I'm going to give you a quiz today. You have until next Wednesday, so that's 1 week, to take that quiz, at which point, Wednesday at noon of next week, which would be Wednesday the 29th, and at noon it will close. So take it before then. And then I'll post the test the following day, which would be Thursday. And you'll have 1 week from Thursday the 30th to then proceed with the exam. You'll have 1 week to take the exam. I'm only doing the quiz for a week because I sort of promised you guys that I would do that. if we keep having quizzes, if you find the quizzes helpful, which some of you will, and thank God we're online because you can email me and no one ever has to know that you're the one who said, hey, these quizzes are helpful. Can we have more? And I guarantee you there's going to be more than one of you. But you don't have to be the bad student or the really good student in the classroom and be known. So that's the good news. And nobody should really have a problem with these quizzes because they should be relatively self-explanatory, relatively easy to do. They're not going to be worth that much like to damage your grade, but you're going to want to do them to help, sort of buoy or support your grade. Okay. So there we have it. I hope that helps a little bit. I hope the quiz helps a lot more. And of course, if you need anything, let me know. Now, this happens to be an off week for Zoom session, Zoom office hours, excuse me. So if you need Zoom office hours tomorrow, Thursday, then please let me know as soon as you can, and I will do them this week as well since we have a test coming up. Otherwise, the next time we have Zoom is next Thursday. All right, I'll talk to you all soon. Good luck. Keep me posted of anything that you need. A text always helps. I have been keeping up with my emails, but I'm not getting that many, and so I'm concerned about whether I'm missing some. Anyway, you all stay healthy. I'll talk to you before the end of the week.